Hi viewers, hope you are fine. I still remember the exact moment my entire world cracked apart. It happened on a cold November evening while rain tapped softly against the kitchen windows of my parents' house. I had just returned home from my second part-time job, exhausted and soaked from the storm outside. My shoes squeaked against the floor as I stepped into the hallway, ready to heat leftover pasta and collapse into bed. But then I heard my mother laughing. Not her normal laugh. It was the kind of laugh she only used around my younger sister, Ava. Curious, I paused near the dining room doorway. And that's when I heard the sentence that changed my life forever. "Your tuition is fully paid now," my father said proudly. "You'll finally get the future you deserve." My stomach tightened. I stepped into the room slowly. "What tuition?" The smiles on their faces disappeared instantly. Ava looked down at the table. My mother folded her arms. "We were going to tell you later." "Tell me what?" I whispered. Nobody answered. And somehow, in that terrifying silence, I already knew. For years, my grandmother had been putting money aside for my future. She called it my dream fund. Ever since I was 12, she promised that one day I'd be able to attend culinary school. In London, cooking wasn't just a hobby to me. It was the only thing that ever made me feel alive. Every birthday, Grandma would smile and say, "One day, Emily, people will line up outside your restaurant." And I believed her. I worked non-stop during high school. I skipped parties. I skipped vacations. I took extra shifts at cafes while my friends enjoyed weekends at the beach. I sacrificed everything because I thought my future was waiting for me. But now, the truth stood right in front of me. My father finally sighed. "Your sister needed the money more." I stared at him, unable to breathe properly. "Ava got accepted into medical school," my mother explained carefully. "This opportunity is bigger." Bigger. That single word shattered something inside me. "That money was for me," I whispered. My mother's face hardened immediately. "Don't be selfish." Selfish? After everything I had done for this family, I was selfish? Ava finally spoke quietly. "I didn't ask them to." "Yes, you did," I snapped before I could stop myself. The room went silent. I looked at my parents, hoping, praying, that one of them would show regret. But they didn't. My father simply leaned back in his chair and said the sentence I will never forget. "Your sister has real potential. Cooking is just a dream." That night, I cried harder than I ever had in my life. Not because of the money, but because I realized something terrifying. My parents had never believed in me at all. And what I didn't know that night was that my grandmother was about to discover everything. And when she did, nothing in our family would ever be the same again. Conflict and betrayal. For the next few weeks, I barely spoke to anyone. I moved through life like a ghost. Every morning, I woke up exhausted. Every night, I replayed my father's words inside my head. "Cooking is just a dream." I stopped applying to culinary schools because there was no point anymore. Without the money Grandma had saved, I couldn't afford tuition. My part-time jobs barely covered rent and groceries. Meanwhile, Ava's life became a celebration. My parents threw her a huge party after her medical school acceptance. Expensive decorations filled the house. Relatives came from different cities just to congratulate her. And me? I was asked to help serve drinks. I still remember standing in the kitchen holding a tray of champagne glasses while my mother proudly told guests, "Ava is going to make this family proud." Not once did she mention me. Not once. That night, something inside me finally broke. I quietly placed the tray down, grabbed my coat, and left the party without saying goodbye. Outside, freezing wind hit my face as tears rolled down my cheeks. I walked aimlessly through empty streets until my phone suddenly rang. Grandma. For a second, I considered ignoring it. But I answered anyway. "Emily," her soft voice asked, "why are you crying?" And the moment she said that, I completely fell apart. I tried to hide it, but she knew me too well. Within minutes, she demanded I come visit her the next morning. I almost didn't go. Part of me was ashamed. Another part feared the truth would destroy her. But when I arrived at her small countryside home, she immediately wrapped her arms around me and said, "Tell me everything." So I did. I told her about the money, about the lies, about the party, about my father saying my dreams didn't matter. And as she listened, her expression slowly changed. I had never seen my grandmother angry before. But that day, her eyes turned cold. "They used your inheritance?" she whispered. I nodded silently. Grandma stood up slowly and walked toward her desk drawer. From inside, she pulled out a thick folder filled with documents. Then she placed them in front of me. "Emily," she said carefully, "that account was legally protected." I stared at her in confusion. "I created that fund specifically for you. Your parents were never supposed to touch it." My heart stopped. Grandma explained everything. Years earlier, she had opened a trust account in my name after my grandfather passed away. The money was supposed to remain untouched until I turned 25. But somehow, my parents had convinced the bank to release part of it early. Illegally. I couldn't even process what I was hearing. "They stole from me?" I whispered. Grandma's voice trembled with anger. Yes, for the first time in months, I saw something stronger than my pain. Truth. And suddenly, I wasn't broken anymore. I was furious. Over the next few days, Grandma contacted her lawyer. Quietly, carefully, she began collecting records from the bank. And the deeper we looked, the uglier the truth became. My parents hadn't just used the money for Ava's tuition. They had also used part of it to renovate the house, to pay off debts, even to fund family vacations. For 11 years, they had slowly drained pieces of my future. I felt sick, but then Grandma held my hand and said something that changed me forever. "Being betrayed by family hurts deeply," she whispered. "But allowing them to destroy your future completely would hurt even more." And at that moment, I decided I was done. Being silent, ending, revenge, climax and moral. 2 months later, my parents received an official legal notice. I'll never forget the panic in my mother's voice when she called me. "Emily, what is this?" she cried. "Why would Grandma involve lawyers?" I stayed silent for a moment before answering calmly. "Because you stole from me." My father grabbed the phone next. "You're destroying this family over money?" I almost laughed. Destroying the family? They had already done that years ago. "I trusted you," I said quietly. "And you treated my future like it belonged to someone else." For the first time in my life, my father had no response. The investigation moved quickly after that. The bank admitted serious mistakes. My parents were forced into a legal repayment agreement, and several assets were sold to recover part of the inheritance. The house renovation they once bragged about? Gone. The luxury SUV my father loved? Sold. And the expensive vacations my mother posted online for years? Now replaced with court meetings and financial stress. But the hardest moment came from Ava. One evening, she showed up at my apartment alone. She looked exhausted, smaller somehow. "I didn't know," she whispered. "Not all of it. I wanted to hate her. Part of me still did. But another part saw something sadder. A girl who spent her entire life being taught that she deserved more than everyone else." Tears filled her eyes. I should have stopped them. I looked at her quietly before saying, "Yes, you should have." And for once, she didn't argue. A few months later, Grandma surprised me again. She handed me a small envelope during dinner. Inside was an acceptance letter. "London Culinary Institute." I stared at it in shock. "I applied for you," Grandma said with a tiny smile. "And this time, the money is protected properly." I broke down crying right there at the table. Not because I finally got my dream, but because for the first time in years, someone believed I deserved it. Today, I live in London. I work long nights in a restaurant kitchen that smells like garlic, butter, and fresh bread. My hands ached constantly, and sometimes I come home completely exhausted. But I'm happy, truly happy. As for my parents, we barely speak now, and honestly, that silence healed me more than their apologies ever could. Because I finally learned something important. Sometimes the people who are supposed to protect your future are the very ones willing to destroy it. But eventually, truth catches up to everyone. And when it does, even the strongest lies fall apart.